Imagine teasing a character and hyping them up only to be immediately overshadowed by one that isn't even playable. That is the harsh reality for Brusha, the character in Dandy's world with the most missed potential. Whether it's her underwhelming ability or underdeveloped character, Brusha has had a lot of criticism thrown her way since her release, and for valid reason. So today, let's deep dive into what I'd like to call the Brusha Problem. Brusha is one of 3, technically 4, non-event toons released in 2025, the others being Blot, Yada, and technically Dial. Dial is a new non-playable lethal who came with his own boss floor and shop in the same update as Brusha, being a complete surprise to the community, overshadowing Brusha's release. But what about the other 2 playable characters that came out in 2025? Well, Yada is incredibly popular due to her playstyle and great stats, being able to serve as both an extractor and distractor if necessary. Blot, while not as popular or played, came with a unique gimmick that allows him to create a decoy and stats that allow him to distract. He's also a part of Yada and Louie's circus troupe, all 3 of which have incredibly different and unique characters. So, what about Brusha? Brusha, both stat and ability-wise, is extremely underwhelming. She has the standard 3-star stat spread, only taking a star from stealth and putting it into skill check. This alone is not bad, allowing her to be a good survivalist or extractor based on stats alone. However, she is not that, instead being a support character. Brusha's ability allows her to enter painting mode, which creates a small circle where anyone inside receives a skill check boost for the trade-off being loss of speed. This, on release, was only 25%, now being buffed to 50% with the latest update. This ability, unfortunately, does not end up being that effective in the long run. We've already seen how ineffective a circle this size is for an ability with Bobette's passive stamina boost, and the same can be said for Brusha's ability. In theory, with her 2-star stealth, she can serve as a toon who guards others from Twisteds while boosting them, taking the Twisteds away from the player extracting if they come too close. Unfortunately, Brusha's stats do not back up this playstyle. Not only does she get slower in her painting mode, but even if it's toggled off, she has standard speed and stamina stats, which in most scenarios are not suitable for distracting unless you are extremely skilled. In most cases, especially on later floors, Brusha is at her most useful extracting machines as opposed to boosting other players, as her only above average stat is her skill check. None of this is to say that a toon's ability has to be incredibly unique or interesting to be fun to play. However, Brusha's playstyle becomes monotonous when the only thing you can do outside of traditionally extracting machines is standing there. At face value, Brusha is an incredibly interesting and emotionally complex character. She's arrogant, irritable, and incredibly defensive of her own artwork while spitting in the face of others. She has a large ego that leads her to talk lowly of most other toons in some way with few exceptions, such as Flutter and Tegan. Where the real intrigue lies with her character is with her past relationship with Tisha. It's hinted that they had a falling out with each other after the in-universe show ended, both being extremely bitter with each other in their dialogue. Tisha seems to often ignore Brusha, while Brusha is extremely standoffish when Tisha tries to help her or interact with her. All of this is an incredibly interesting setup that as of now has gone nowhere. Even in Brusha's own update, more focus was put into Dial's character and lore, as well as the gossip feature, which gave small bits of information about the majority of toons, including Brusha herself. We do not know what incident may have caused Brusha to change, anything about her past with Tisha, or anything about who she used to be. This becomes especially apparent when Brusha's initial teaser and intrigue hinged on an already existing character. And while not everything needs to be shared about a character or their motivations at once, a problem arises when we are not even being drip-fed new information. Brusha has gotten no new character development, dialogue, or information since August 8th of 2025, which was her release. She's gotten 2 new skins and an additional sticker, but those do not add anything to her character. The closest we have gotten has been paintings from her in the limited edition Halloween map, but that did not provide us with anything about Brusha herself that we did not already know, as that update was focused on the Halloween toons. There was also a piece of Gordy gossip relating to Brusha, but this also did not add on to Brusha's character. once again only showcasing what we already knew, that Brusha has an ego and a superiority complex, even towards children. Brusha, even months after her release, continues to have the problem that many toons in Dandy's world suffer from, a lack of character information that goes untouched as new toons are released. Along with this, however, Brusha also suffers from a lackluster ability that is outplayed by both starter and late game toons. To fix the Brusha problem would require both a complete ability rework, as buffs have not changed her placement in the meta, and more development to both her and Tish's character, something that will more than likely not come to fruition for a long time. If you're interested in more Dandy's World content, please consider subscribing, and comment down below your thoughts on Brusha. This is Dandelion, signing off.